us with the exercise. Yay. Okay. The exercise is very simple. You're all familiar with the PCAT formula now, right? If you look at the wall, where is it over there? And it's in your manuals as well, on page 50 something or other. 45, there you go. It gives you the language, the questions to ask. Actually, no, further than 45. Let's find the page number for you. There we go. Page 51. On page 51, you have the questions. On the wall of there, the questions again, the same ones. These are basically the questions that you ask at each stage of the PCAT formula. So remember, the P stands for what parameters, right? What's the problem, when and where specifically, right? It also stands for the outcome. What do you want? How do you want to be different? The C is the critical factor bypass. That's what the mind-bending language is all about. At this point, all you really want to focus on is where do I need to take their attention, right? Which is basically not where it is. So where's their attention now? Where do I need to take it? And your tools for it are the mind-bending language or the non-awareness set. For the moment, just stick to the mind-bending language because that's what we're practicing, right? For mind-bending language, we have, right up there on the back wall, all the different maneuvers you've got. Negation, non-awareness set questions, syntax, space, revivification, presuppositions of awareness, changing sensory modalities. These are all maneuvers you've got available, but you've done them already, right? Next, when we talk about accessing resources, there's only one of three things that can happen, right? It's only a little tear. Oh. There's only one of three things that can happen, right? They either come back and they say, "How do you feel, Dave?" And that's what they say, right? If they say, "I feel good," what do you say? As you're feeling good, think about cats. Thank you very much. Done, right? Or they come back and they say, "Well, I'm okay. I'm neutral, neither good nor bad," right? So then you ask, it's only here, "How do you want to feel?" Right? And I'll tell you, "Well, I want to feel good." Well, how do you know when you are feeling good? Well, I just feel good. Now, when they light up, you say, "Well, as you're feeling, you feel that now?" "Yeah, sure." As you're feeling good, think about the cats, right? So all this is this with a step in between, right? And they come back and they say, "How do you feel?" "Well, actually, I feel pretty terrible," right? So what's so pretty about terrible things? Or whatever, it really doesn't matter, right? So at this point, you spin them back up. At this point, you bring them to this, and at this point, you bring them back to the original problem trigger. That's all you do. It's three questions. As you feel this, think about that. How do you feel different? How do you know? And then it's back to this, and then it's the same question again. Or if it's this, you spin them up, then I come back on one of these three again. So you either spin them back up, you ask the question, or you ask that question. Easy, right? So if they come back feeling happy, what do you say? All right, you guys. Do you want me to start the whole ab reaction thing again? So they come back and they're feeling great. What do you say? As you're feeling great, think about the problem, right? So they come back and they feel neutral. What do you say? How do you want to feel? Let's say, "I want to feel great." And what do you say then? How do you know when you are? Right? Well, and they say, "Well, I feel it this way, that way, that way." So it says, "Well, are you feeling it now?" "Sure." So as you feel great, think about the problem. Or they say, "Actually, I feel pretty terrible." And then you say,
"What's so pretty about it?" Terrible.
Or many of the variations that you have, right? Exactly. So you got to get that really, it's no brainer. There's three questions that you ask. Three questions are written up here, one of which, of course, is just going back to the original C again, right? But they're not rocket science, they're not difficult questions. Am I correct in thinking this? Then, so that's the access resources stage, and then we go to transforming. Well, they're already in their good state. You've already transformed them. You made them think about the original context, right? So you've actually really done A and T all in one step, right? So now all that's left is the second part of T. T is for transform, but it also is for test. And you've all seen how you test, right? Everyone seen it? So it is now 11:15. Perfect. We have half an hour before the break. So find a partner, find a problem, spend 15 minutes apiece. I don't really care too much. I don't care too much if you get here within those 15 minutes. What I care about is that you get used to cycling and doing these maneuvers. When they get this and they go to the trigger, they'll feel a little better, and they may not be entirely resolved, they may be entirely resolved, I don't know. But just get used to these three positions. Start asking about the problem up front, so you now have a complete context. What did you want to work through today? Okay. When and where give me a specific example. When and where were you? Great. How do you want to be different? Thank you very much. Okay. Mind-bending one. Okay. How do you feel now? Well, I feel pretty great. Okay. As you feel pretty great, go back to that specific context and notice what happens. Do you see how that works? It's really, really simple. If within those 15 minutes you have time and you actually get the hit pretty quickly, then go ahead and test it. Just ask for many different situations, as many as you can possibly think of. If you don't have time, that's no problem, right? Because you know about it. The testing phase is actually the simplest, the most mechanical stage, shall we say. It's the most mechanical stage of them all. It's still very important, but it's just a question of mechanics, right? There's no real artistry that you need to have at that point. Make sense? Everyone get what we're doing? 15 minutes apiece. I'll call a time halfway through, and then you'll be 15 minutes again. We'll go straight into the break after that. There'll be no group session, and then we'll just come back after break and do the next piece. Everyone happy? Off you go.